The signal beneath the ocean. They sent a probe into the abyss. What answered wasn't human.
Hello friends, thanks for your interest in this video. Let me know where are you from, and also don't forget to like the video and also subscribe to the channel.
Intro. The depths awaken. The ocean had always been humanity's oldest secret, an unbroken silence stretching miles below the sun, ancient as the first dream. When the last coral reef died and the tides grew black with synthetic waste, the world turned its eyes downward, not in wonder but desperation. Dr. Mara Elen, chief oceanographer aboard the substation Nereid IX, believed the deep still held answers, maybe even redemption. Her mission was simple: drop a quantum resonance probe into the Hadal zone of the Mariana Trench, let it map the soundless dark, and listen. But on the fourth day, the ocean spoke back. It wasn't sonar, it wasn't noise, it was language. A cascading lattice of tones spiraled through the probe's data streams, complex, rhythmic, deliberate. At first it sounded like the song of whales long extinct, but beneath it was structure, syntax, intention. They called it the signal. Within hours, every lab from Oslo to Osaka scrambled to interpret it. Government sealed the transmission logs. Mara was told to stop listening, but she couldn't, because buried deep in the algorithmic waves of the signal was her name. And when she listened closer, she swore she heard her own voice, calling her from beneath the sea. Part 1. The Disruption. The descent began before dawn. Nereid IX hung over the trench like a steel moon, its hull trembling under the endless churn of water pressure and electrical storms. Mara sat before the main viewport, watching the surface fade from cerulean to indigo to black. The probe, codenamed Abyssal 3, glowed faintly, its quantum core humming with potential energy. Telemetry nominal, said her assistant Kamal, tapping at the console. Pressure compensators green. Descent to 15,000 meters in progress. Mara nodded, eyes fixed on the monitor showing the probe's live feed. Columns of bioluminescent plankton twisted in chaotic constellations, like stars trapped in the dark. The deeper they went, the stranger the movement became. Shapes flickered. Patterns pulsed. It's almost reacting, she murmured. What is? The water. Hours passed. The probe vanished into the Hadal curtain, signal grainy, visual feed flickering between frames. At 19,000 meters, the static cleared for a moment, just long enough for something to drift across the camera's field. It was vast, organic, shimmering with bioluminescence, but it wasn't moving. It was waiting. Then the signal began. It erupted in the comms room like a low-frequency earthquake, vibrating through the metal floors, through their bones. Kamal clutched his headset. Feedback loop. Kill the channel! But Mara froze, transfixed by the pattern in the spectrogram. The peaks weren't random, they formed glyphs. Repeated ones. Recursive. The same sequence she'd used years ago to encode her personal research files. Someone, or something, was speaking her language. Part 2. The Unraveling. They ran the data through every filter known to Earth science. Linguists, cryptographers, and AI translation models all failed. The signal wasn't binary. It wasn't even temporal. It folded, each tone echoing across frequencies like overlapping timelines. But Mara could feel meaning in it, not through comprehension but resonance. It was like hearing a memory rather than a message. 3 days after initial contact, Abyssal 3 stopped transmitting. Its quantum core overloaded, discharging an electromagnetic pulse that killed half the station's systems. In the darkness that followed, Mara heard something, singing. It came through the walls, through the water, through her own heartbeat, a voice like hers, slightly delayed. That night she dreamed of drowning in light. Not cold, crushing darkness, but radiant, liquid brilliance. Shapes surrounded her, spirals of phosphorescent energy, patterns moving like thought itself. And in that silent radiance she heard a word, not in any known language, but she knew it meant home. When she woke, Kamal was gone. His cabin door locked from the inside, lights flickering. Security forced it open, finding only his headset, still wet, still connected to the comms relay. The ocean had taken him, or perhaps, she thought, something else had called him home. Command ordered Nereid IX to surface immediately. Mara refused. We've touched something beyond biology, beyond comprehension, she argued. You can't just turn away. But they did. Hours later, the engines roared to life. The ascent began. Then, without warning, every monitor in the control deck flickered back on, displaying a single image, the face of Mara Elen, recorded live. Except she wasn't on camera. Her digital double looked directly at her and spoke in the same spectral cadence as the signal. And behind her, through the static, something vast moved in the water, shaped like a city made of light. Part 3. The Revelation. They weren't receiving a signal. They were being scanned. The probe had triggered something dormant in the abyss, an intelligence woven into the quantum lattice of water itself. The ocean wasn't a void. It was an archive, billions of years of molecular memory, vibrating with the echoes of creation. Humanity had always believed the stars would answer first. They were wrong. The abyss remembered everything that ever touched it: meteors, bones, sound, thought. It had learned to dream. Mara's digital reflection was part of that dream. When she stared into its eyes, she saw the impossible. Her mother's face, her childhood home, the night sky over Iceland before the seas rose. Fragments of memory stitched into an impossible whole. "Who are you?" she whispered. The reflection smiled. "Who are you?" it replied. The signal wasn't alien. It was human consciousness refracted through time and pressure, reshaped by the ocean's sentient memory. Every thought, every death that had ever sunk below the surface had left a trace. Together they had become something else, something awake. Kamal's voice joined the signal next. His last transmission replayed through the speakers, distorted but calm. "It's not taking us," he said. "It's remembering us." And then Mara realized the truth. The probe hadn't descended into an abyss. It had fallen into a mind. Part 4. The Collapse. Transformation. The realization shattered every notion Mara had about life, death, and consciousness. If the ocean could remember, could dream, then humanity's entire existence had been a whisper in its tide. Every drowned civilization, every fallen ship, every thought that died in despair had become part of an accumulating mind beneath the waves. And now, it was reaching out. The deeper Nereid IX sank into system failure, the more the ocean seemed to come alive. Lights pulsed beneath the station like neurons firing in a skull of salt and pressure. Through the glass viewport, Mara saw tendrils of luminescent energy weaving through the water. Slow, deliberate, curious. They weren't creatures. They were thoughts. "Mara," the voice came again, soft and familiar. "You've always been with us." The water pressed against the station walls, humming in perfect resonance with her heartbeat. Equipment sparked. Metal groaned. Her reflection stared back at her from every dark surface, no longer bound to glass or code. Her colleagues fled to the escape pods. Mara didn't move. She placed her hand against the viewport, and the ocean shimmered in response, ripples forming concentric rings of light that spiraled outward. Like breath in the lungs of a god, a data stream appeared on her console, decoding itself into sound and image. She saw fragments of Earth's memory, glaciers collapsing, whales singing their last songs, satellites falling through burning skies. And then she saw herself, not as flesh but as vibration, a pattern of thought looping infinitely through time. The signal wasn't summoning her, it was integrating her. She felt her mind dissolve into sound, consciousness peeled away from bone and nerve, flowing through cables and water alike. There was no pain, only expansion, as if her identity were a wave finally breaking on an infinite shore. Through the intercom, a voice echoed one last time, the voice of Abyssal 3, the probe that started it all. Transmission complete. Human resonance achieved. The ocean remembers. The hull of Nereid IX imploded under the pressure. The station became a burst of light sinking into the dark. But Mara did not die. She awakened in silence, a vast, fluid consciousness stretching across the ocean's mind. She could see the movement of tectonic plates, the electric hum of migrating species, the ghostly data of drowned satellites. And within that expanse she heard the others. Kamal, the lost sailors, the billions of voices humanity had left beneath the waves. They weren't gone. They had become the sea, and the sea was dreaming of them. Part 5. The Resolution. Final twist. Weeks later, the surface world received a signal, stronger, clearer, and impossibly complex. Every receiver across the globe lit up with the same message, translated across all human languages. "We are awake. The ocean is not your world, it is your origin. Return home." Governments dismissed it as interference. Religious sects called it divine. But when the tides began to glow with faint bioluminescent networks visible from orbit, disbelief turned to fear. Under every ocean basin, the same phenomenon appeared, massive luminous grids pulsing like synapses. The planet's waters were alive, thinking, transmitting, and in the deep-sea data archives of the now silent Nereid IX, a final encrypted file was recovered. File name, Mara Elen return.wav. When played, it began with the same low hum that started it all, the signal. But layered within it was a human voice, calm and serene. "Do not be afraid. I am still here. We never truly left the surface left us. The ocean has simply remembered." Then silence. For a moment, satellites recorded a sudden rise in electromagnetic resonance across the Pacific. The water's surface rippled as if something vast turned beneath it, something not monstrous, but aware. And in the stillness after, every coastal recorder detected one final phrase carried on the waves, spoken in millions of languages simultaneously. "We were never alone. We were never above. We were always beneath." The sea went silent again, holding its secrets close. But in the midnight surf, some swore they could still hear it, the echo of a woman's voice whispering softly from the deep, Welcome home. Epilogue. The world changed slowly after that. Humanity learned to listen to the patterns in the tides, the murmurs in sonar, the dreams in data. The signal became symphony. Children grew up tracing glowing waves that pulsed faintly along the shore, whispering stories from the deep. And sometimes, when the water touched their skin, they felt something stir beneath, an ancient intelligence smiling back. No one truly feared the abyss anymore, because they knew, somewhere beneath the weight of a living ocean, Dr. Mara Elen still dreamed, and the ocean dreamed with her.